the dark side of positive thinking. We are living in an era obsessed with positivity. Think positive. Good vibes only. Everything happens for a reason. It sounds harmless. It sounds motivating. It sounds healthy. But what if I told you that blind positive thinking can quietly destroy your mental health, your growth, and your honesty with yourself? Today, I'm not here to tell you that positivity is useless. I'm here to tell you the truth no one talks about. Positive thinking has a dark side, and if you don't understand it, it will keep you stuck, ashamed, and disconnected from reality. 1. Positivity was never meant to be a mask. Positive thinking was originally meant to help people cope, not escape. But somewhere along the way, positivity became a performance. We learned to smile while breaking inside. We learned to say, "I'm fine," when we weren't. We learned to hide pain instead of processing it. And that's the first danger. When positivity becomes a mask, healing stops. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. Pain does not disappear because you ignore it. It waits. It grows. And eventually, it comes out as anxiety, anger, burnout, or depression. 2. Toxic positivity, when optimism becomes violence. There's a term psychologists use, toxic positivity. It's the belief that you should always stay positive. Negative emotions are weakness. Sadness, anger, and fear should be suppressed. Phrases like, "Just be grateful." Others have it worse. "Don't think negative. Everything happens for a reason." These statements don't heal people, they silence them. They teach people that their pain is invalid, that their emotions are inconvenient, that struggle is a failure of mindset. And slowly, people learn to blame themselves for suffering. 3. The brain does not heal through lies. Your brain is not stupid. You cannot tell yourself, "I'm happy, I'm motivated, I'm confident," when your nervous system is screaming otherwise. The brain heals through truth, not affirmations. When you force positivity while ignoring reality, the brain feels unsafe. And when the brain feels unsafe, it activates defense modes. Anxiety, overthinking, procrastination, emotional numbness. This is why many positive thinkers secretly feel exhausted, because lying to yourself is mentally expensive. 4. Why suppressing negative emotions makes them stronger. Here's a psychological truth most people don't know. Suppressed emotions don't disappear, they transform. Unexpressed sadness becomes depression. Unexpressed anger becomes resentment. Unexpressed fear becomes anxiety. When you constantly tell yourself to stay positive, you are not mastering emotions. You are avoiding them. And avoidance teaches the brain that emotions are dangerous. So next time sadness appears, your brain panics. Next time fear arises, your body tenses. Next time anger shows up, guilt follows. This is how emotional confusion is created. 5. Positive thinking can kill growth. Growth is uncomfortable. Real growth comes from facing weakness, admitting fear, accepting failure, sitting with discomfort. But blind positivity skips all of that. It says, "Don't focus on the problem. Just visualize success. Manifest it." But here's the truth. You cannot fix what you refuse to examine. Avoiding problems doesn't make you strong. It makes you fragile. Because the moment life hits you hard, and it will, you won't have emotional muscles to handle it. 6. Why positive thinking fails under pressure. Have you noticed something strange? People who rely only on positive thinking often collapse under real pressure. Why? Because positivity without preparation creates false confidence. Real confidence comes from knowing your limits, accepting risk, being realistic, training for adversity, not from pretending everything will magically work out. Hope without action is fantasy. Optimism without realism is delusion. 7. The psychology of false hope. Positive thinking often creates false hope. It teaches people, if you believe hard enough, it will happen. But life doesn't work that way. Sometimes, you can do everything right and still fail. You can be positive and still lose. You can work hard and still suffer. And when people aren't prepared for this reality, they collapse. They don't say, life is complex. They say, there's something wrong with me. This is how positivity turns into self-blame. 8. Why negative emotions are not the enemy. Negative emotions are not mistakes. They are signals. Fear tells you something matters. Anger tells you a boundary was crossed. Sadness tells you something needs to be processed. Eliminating negative emotions is not mental strength. Understanding them is. Emotionally strong people don't avoid pain. They face it with awareness. 9. Real mental strength is emotional honesty. The strongest people are not always smiling. They are not always calm. They are not always optimistic. They are honest. They say, I'm struggling. I'm afraid. I don't know. I'm tired. And that honesty gives them clarity. Clarity leads to control. Control leads to growth. 10. Balanced thinking vs. positive thinking. There's a difference between positive thinking and balanced thinking. Positive thinking says, everything will be fine. Balanced thinking says, this is hard, but I can handle it. Positive thinking avoids discomfort. Balanced thinking prepares for it. Balanced thinking accepts reality, allows emotions, encourages responsibility, builds resilience. This is what actually heals the mind.